We're dividing by decimals. We've worked out that 2.4 divided by 8 is tricky, but 24 divided by 8 would be 3. We can't make it 3. This, if it was 24 divided by 8, the decimal point would have been there. The decimal point is one spot further over. So we could make a guess that 0.3 would probably be about right. It's a pretty small number divided by close to 10. Should be pretty close to 0.2 or so. Looks about right. So sometimes we can just use a bit of a mental trick. 2.4 divided by 8 is hard, but 24 divided by 8 is easy. Then move your decimal point over. If we want to do this the proper working way though, we do the same algorithm we'd ordinarily do for division. 2.4 divided by 8. And we divide it exactly the same way, and the decimal points will line up. So if you want to line the decimal point up in your answer to start with, everybody should be writing this, then line those decimal points up. 8 into 2 doesn't go. Put a 0. Anyone playing music stops it right now. How rude. 8 into 24 goes 3 times 0.3. There were no remainders, so we did get the correct answer either way. So every time you're asked to divide a decimal by a whole number, the easiest way to always get the right answer is to set up the algorithm. 35.756 divided by 4. Put your decimal point up. 4 into 3 doesn't go. 4 into 35. Yeah?
Can you do a remainder?
Yeah, we'll have to have a remainder. How many times are we going in?
It would be 8.
8 times 4 would be?
32.
So that goes
3
in.
remainder.
3 remainder. Put our remainder. So we know 4 into 3 doesn't go. 4 into 37.
Same thing. Actually, yeah, no.
32 was our last one. 33, 34, 35, 36. 4 times what is 36?
9.
If the remainder is 1.
4 into 1 doesn't go. That's why we've got the remainder. 4 into 15.
3 with 3 remainder. I think.
4 times 3 is 12. So I've got my remainder. And 4 into 36.
9 remainders.
So we've got our exact answer.
Good job to end with a decimal. Remainder.
Thanks, but could I not have comments unless I ask for an answer?
Right, sorry.
If we'd still had a remainder here and we've run out of digits, we could keep putting zeros, and sometimes we'll need to do that. So we divide just like we normally would. There's one situation where it might be a little bit tricky, and that's dividing by a decimal. .137 divided by 0.03. Nobody should be playing with their devices. Now this is difficult, but there's a trick we can do to make it easier. Very quickly, if I had 100 divided by 2, what would I get?
50.
50. So 100 divided by 2 is 50. What about 1,000 divided by 20? I times both sides by 10.
500.
How about you grab a calculator and check?
450. Yeah.
I multiplied both sides by 10.
50.
It's still 50.
Oh, okay.
Multiplying both sides by 10. Devices shut, please. You don't use a calculator on your devices. You shut.
Sorry, I was going to say.
Stop talking over me. Got it?
Got it.
Video's going.
Sorry.
We don't interrupt.
Sorry.
I can multiply both sides by 10 and I'll still get the same answer. Now remember, multiplying by 10, move the decimal point over one spot. That wouldn't get this to a whole number yet. It would get it to 0.3. What would I have to times by again to get to a whole number over here?
10.
Another times by 10 on both sides would give me this new question. Now I'm dividing by a whole number, but I'll still get the same answer because I multiplied both of them by 100. So when you're stuck having to divide by a decimal without your calculator, move decimal points on both parts until you're dividing by a whole number, and it will be much easier. Now we use our algorithm. Three goes into 6.
3, 2.
2 times, no remainder. 3 into 4.
1 remainder.
1 remainder 1. 3 into 11.
3 with 2 remainder.
3 times 3 is 9. Remainder of 2. 3 into 23.
7 to remainder.
So 3 times 7 is 21. 22, 23. 2 remainder. Put your point in line, and I'm likely to forget that, which is why I often try to do it at the start of the question instead of when I get to it. 3 into 27.
9.
Should hear it from everybody, people. 9, any remainder?
9.
So there's a few different tricks to dividing with decimals. We can just use the algorithm, and that will work. If I'm dividing by a decimal, much easier to be a little bit clever and make it a whole number.